everyone, this is Chris Kies for Premier Guitar. We're at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. Get to hang out with the Perfect Circle today. We're going to start off things with James. James, how you doing?
Good, good. How you guys doing?
Excellent, man. Thank you for taking the time. You guys probably know James, obviously with the Perfect Circle, Smashing Pumpkins. But what I do, or personally enjoy most about James and your on-stage persona, is your ability to tell jokes. I love that in the live albums that you guys came out a couple years ago. You had a couple jokes.
Yeah, it is nothing.
I'm not putting you on the spot here and requesting a joke.
No. I'm just explaining how that evolved. Yeah, Maynard asked me to kill some time, so it's not a career I wanted as far as telling jokes, but I do it. I'm a team player.
Yeah,
I'm a team player.
My personal favorite was what never goes out of style, but you can wear all the time.
A smile.
A smile.
It's
classic. Well, James, I have a smile on my face. We're hanging out. We're going to talk guitars. This is your number one?
Yes. This is a Gibson Les Paul Custom. I don't know the exact year, but it's a 90s, maybe like late, or not 90s, 80s. Sorry, it's probably like a late 80s Custom.
Okay.
Great guitar, feels great.
Have you done anything to it since you've owned it?
Yeah, you know, I changed the pickups on it, and I still have, obviously I still have the original, so I can't decide which ones I like, but they're both, the ones that came with it are really good, and oh man, I'm spacing them.
Are these the Tom Andersons? I know that I read. Okay, I was gonna say that's what I read. I didn't know.
I was gonna say I totally spaced the name of what those
Tom
are called.
Andersons.
Yeah, they're like super hot and good for this band.
Cool.
It's so yeah. All my guitars, I did that to keep some sort of continuity with the balance and the overall gain. And as we're in a live situation, you can hear some of the production talk over there.
Yeah. Is there anything that you've had going on, I guess, like maybe tuners or a new bridge or anything that you've had to do to it to make it more playable or make it to maybe your liking?
No, just fast fret.
Okay.
But yeah, no, everything else is original, I think. Yeah, no, I think everything else is original.
And is this a guitar that you've had for a while, or is this something you picked up?
Yeah, no, I played this guitar in the Pumpkins.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's like, I don't know, the Les Pauls always seem to work in the bands I've played in.
Yeah.
It's super heavy, but kind of like, I'm always sort of looking for another guitar that's just lighter, but I always go back to this one because it's really balanced, has a lot of bass, it's easy to play, and it's rocks.
And you know what you're going to get with it.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get with it. So
and a bad back.
Yeah.
Bad back, good tone.
Bad back, good tone. Yeah.
And I imagine you probably did, or maybe, hopefully you didn't, because it's a beautiful guitar, but I know back in the day you have been known to tape phasers on your guitar. Would this one ever see a phaser on its top?
No, I don't think we did that to this one. There's a couple dings and hits on this, but nothing from taping effects pedals to it.
Is for what strings are you using this go around?
A Perfect Circle plays in C sharp.
And that's pretty much
exclusive.
Okay.
So there's, I don't remember that. I have like the string gauges in an iPhone Note because I can't remember.
Are they Ernie Ball, Dunlop?
I think we're using Ernie Ball, and they're just like, it's a mix of like heavy and.
So like, I think they have a set, maybe, unless it's a custom one, they call them like heavy bottoms.
Yeah, tops. it's a mix of a couple different sets.
Okay.
Or I don't even know. Yeah, it's like a custom set that Billy Howerdel came up with, and it works well with the super low tuning.
And guitar pick.
This is not my guitar pick. I couldn't find my guitar pick. I ended up just using the yellow Tortex.
Okay.
Dunlop pick. Yeah. I don't know. Like I sometimes use, what is this one? I sometimes use this other kind of Dunlop one.
Oh, it looks like the Ultex, where it has like the
it's
grip on it.
A little bit of.
Do you like that or no?
Yeah. I think in the end, like at the beginning of the tour, I was using both, and then just at some point, I just only used the yellow ones for some reason. I think they have like a different kind of grip on this. The way they hit the strings is like more satisfying.
When you play, do you use the design pick edge, or are you rotating it? You know, maybe using the curved edge too, or are you just specifically always using like the design corner?
I think I'm using the design corner, but I haven't thought about it.
Some people they will, like they'll use that for like a softer edge or a different.
Oh, okay, I see.
Like a different attack.
Yeah, I could see that. You know, I'll have to get back to you on that on that one.
Is there any other variations through your Les Pauls? Are they all customs?
Yeah, I have another gray burst one.
Oh, wow.
There's a couple songs. There's a couple songs that using a capo on, and I guess this is my number 2. It's cool gray burst one. It's a custom from the 80s too, I think. And
you have no problem with the 80s ones? Because I know sometimes people will poo-poo those, that decade or that
Really?
era.
I'm not a snob. I probably really don't know it. I don't. There was a time where I was, researching guitars, but I just, I have the guitars I like, and there's only so much time in the day.
You're doing more important stuff like making good music.
Well, yeah, trying. I'm trying. But I like the guitars I have, but I'm always looking for new ones. I'm just not like combing the internet and being a super nerd about my guitars. I'm generally happy with them. I think maybe before I go out again, I'm going to look for another 1 or 2 Les Pauls, but yeah.
And for the Silverburst, to go back there real quick with the capo on the first fret, do you know any songs specifically off the top of your head that one people will see?
We play that song Passive.
Okay.
And that the parts I play, it just ended up being there's a bunch of like open chords, and it is just better to play it with the capo, so I can play it down here. And then I'm also using. I got this guitar from Yamaha. This is like a crazy tuning, and I don't know the name of the style of this guitar, but it's a Yamaha guitar. They've been very nice to me, and I've been using this for what song do we use this on? We do a cover of What's So Funny about peace, love, and understanding, and I came up with a special tuning for this, and it's got a capo, as you can see as well.
What's the special tuning?
I've got it in an iPhone note, but I couldn't really tell you what it is
without it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a nonsensical tuning just to play. What I thought was it's just like this part that just goes over and over and over. So instead of like having to reach and do this thing, I just made it easy, and it sounds a little better to me with the tuning.
And easier for you to play.
Yeah.
Are these guitars used on the new album that people hopefully will hear this summer?
Yeah, Billy's done a little bit of recording on the road and stuff, but some of it's like demo stages, so I'm not sure what will make it. But yeah, this would be the guitar I would use.
And normally this is where we would segue and go up on stage, but you told us before this that you don't even have any amps or even monitors, just in your ears.
Yeah, just.
So we couldn't even hear anything if you wanted to play.
Yeah,
because he's running Axifex.
You can hear it. You can hear it later tonight at Bridgestone Arena. For this tour, we play with the Fractals, and I used an amp and speaker on previous tours, and I I just decided to get into the world of cabinet simulators and just working with the new Fractal updates. And it's me and a guitar tech worked on it for a while, and I just decided it was like cleaner and more like in your face, just to go completely direct from the Fractal and work within the cabinet simulators and amps in there.
How do you feel the live experience as a player? Is it different for you? You know,
not if you're on in-ears. I mean, if you're, the whole band's on in-ears, and that's what you hear.
Yeah.
If we weren't on in-ears, yeah, I would definitely use a speaker and an
just
amp.
To feel it.
But I just worked for a while just on headphones and just endlessly tweaked the cabinets and amps and stuff, and it's amazing what you can do.
I bet you it's like a rabbit hole.
Yeah. I mean, you can spend days, weeks on just dialing sounds in, and it's great.
I mean, just to give people a taste of what would you say, like maybe your main sounds or like your core tone is based on amp-wise, so people can at least...
There's a Friedman amp that I like for basic distortion. And the thing I like with the cabinet simulators is like there's all different versions, mono, stereo, ultra stereo, and just different mics, different the distance between the mic and the cabinet, the air, the size of the room. You know, it's just
yeah, it's like endless.
It goes endless, and that's without even getting into compressors and the distortion. I mean, the amps and the distortion. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even know what they do, but it sounds really good. But the guitar tech I worked with, he helped me out with a lot of stuff, and I was like, wow. So I just decided for this tour to kind of go for it and just go with sort of the sounds we were working on, and it's a different vibe.
Yeah,
it's a different kind of sound, but I kind of love it. It's really just super wide and big. And
I was going to say, how do you feel like this will be incorporated? You know, your initial experience doing this going forward. Do you think this is something that maybe will be a mainstay in your live setup? If not, maybe bring an amp back, or always have the Fractal.
You know, you never say never, but I'm pretty impressed with it right now. So.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of effects that we could have seen and heard, but you need to come to the show and do that.
Yeah.
That's the selling point.
Billy's got one of those old-fashioned cabinets up there, so I'm sure he can play that stuff for you. But we can't actually jam my in-ear monitors into the microphone up there.
No, it would look pretty...
it won't sound the same.
No, it wouldn't. James, thank you very much for taking the time. I appreciate it. Big fan. And then we're going to move on to the next guy. All right, second guy up, Matt. Might look familiar to you because he's been in awesome bands. Ashes Divide, Eagles of Death Metal, Perfect Circle.
The Beta Machine.
The Beta Machine, current project, besides Perfect Circle. But he's also the second rig rundown for you. You did Eagles of Death Metal.
That's true. I'm a rig rundown veteran. I'm an old rig rundown veteran. I'm feeling rundown, actually.
Well, we'll
my
make
rig
this
is
quick.
not. Just kidding.
So you can get rejuvenated for the show. Talk to me about your bass here. Is this similar or an exact one that you used with the Eagles?
Well, this one has 4 strings.
The last one was 5.
The last one had 7. You know, just for if I want to go to like the, Z sharp standard.
Because it's, heavy.
This actually is, I've used a few different basses with Eagles. I used a few different basses with Perfect Circle over the years, but this is the last bass that I was using with Eagles. I was starting to use a Starcaster sometimes with them. I started using that with the Beta Machine as well, just to change things up, because actually having a Starcaster with them sounded a little more like the records. Anyway, but yeah, Perfect Circle, pretty much always been a P bass live. So different variations, of course, on the P bass, but yeah, this is the same one. I was using the Eagles, and is it the Beta Machine?
Right?
Yeah, it's the American Elite series.
And why do you like this one besides being newer You were talking to us off camera why this one you like the access a little bit more.
Yeah, you can get up to the higher frets a little bit more,
shredding.
especially with this bass for maximum shred. Some basses have like this much shred access, but this one has this much shred access.
So there's no excuse. Oh my.
Shraxis.
Trademarked.
That's the new, it's got this new Shraxis neck. Yeah, but there is a lot of stuff high up on the frets, which typically for a bass, you don't always need to do, but Perfect Circle, there's a lot of stuff that's right up to these last few frets here, so it's actually more comfortable for me.
Where would people see you playing up on the neck that far? Like what songs?
There's a song called Blue. That's definitely way up there, like the intro for Weak and Powerless. Some stuff on The Noose. The Noose is really high up there. Yeah,
Cool.
bunch of other shit too.
What about strings and gauges?
These, so yeah, I've been with Ernie Ball for, God, since like 2008.
Long time.
Yeah, I love them so much. They're so nice. They like to give me long hot baths
Really?
in the winter.
that Sterling?
time, so they take care of me really well.
Sterling does that?
So yeah, these are the Power Slinkies, the
Okay.
purple pack. So it's like 110 to 55. So with Eagles and the Beta Machine, it's using the Super Slinkies, the pink ones, 100 to 45.
What do you like that these offer?
Well, it's just a different tuning with Perfect Circle. It's C sharp standard, so C sharp, F sharp, B, E. So it's just a lower tuning. So just to maintain the same amount of tension, basically, it's roughly the same. So everything's in that tuning. There's a couple songs that are tuned down a half step from there. So actually that's why I usually just go to another bass for that. But it's the same gauge of strings, same strings. But it's mostly just that, just to keep that same meatiness. You throw meatiness, sorry. You throw those Super Slinkies and you drop those down to C sharp.
Spaghetti.
It's gonna be too slinky.
Too
Pardon,
super.
sorry.
And picks?
I'm out.
Well, come on. I was going to throw you a hardball. Do you use picks at all?
Yeah.
And
All
there's
picks
specifically
with
one?
Perfect Circle. Yeah, same ones I've been using, the Dunlop Tortex
Okay.
88s.
What do you
They
dig
were
about
kind
those?
Kind enough to supply me with some more these my horrible ideas come to fruition.
Eat junk.
So those are nice. I'm just used to them, you know. I started using those with, you can keep it, man.
Shit.
Fuck yeah, bro. Dude, eBay, 25 cents, I heard.
Oh, I thought you were going to say $25.
But if I sign it, it's like 0.01 cents.
Do you think you can fit your name on it?
I don't think so. Yeah, it's just the most comfortable for me. It's like right in that, you know, because if you go to like 77 or 73, it's too light. It's like playing with a leaf or something.
Yeah.
And then some people like to do the 1.0, like the bass, or like the big triangular bass picks, which just feels like you're playing with a fucking quarter or a $50 or something. Just, it's too much, you know. I like to, those are right around the right spot for me to be able to like dig in obnoxiously so sometimes, and not like completely just destroy the strings, you know. That's kind of it.
And your strategy with strings being, do you change them every night, or is it something?
I do, because I'm a sweaty, gross, oily, greasy mess. I guess it comes from my genes. Thanks, Mom and Pop. Yeah, you know, especially like, we just played a festival the other day we played Jacksonville and Fort Myers, you know, very humid, very hot outdoors. And like the next day, the strings are just fucking dead. They sound like they've been on there for 30 years, you know, because I'm just sweating all over them. So yeah, just to like get that really nice like piano chime, like bright sound. I love the sound of new strings. It sounds
So you're a new string guy, because some people they'll be like, oh, I won't change them till they broke.
Yeah,
Break.
yeah. It depends. It just depends on the band. Depends on the sound you're going for. You know, if I was playing more like a R&B kind of funky, like more thumpy kind of thing, or like playing with my thumb or something like that, I'd much prefer to have slightly dead string, or maybe even like flat wounds or something, or medium wounds or whatever. But no, mostly for rock stuff though, I like to have a really bright strings for sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is typically where we would talk about your amps. And you do have a power amp, but you're also running Fractal stuff.
I'm going through a few things. I'm going through a Mesa Boogie 400 Plus. So that's my amp going into an Ampeg 810 cab, the fridge, some like to say. Sounds fucking monstrous, but also going through a Demeter preamp for some additional tone shaping. And
is it wired for sound? Is it cool if maybe we go up and?
Yeah, maybe in a minute.
Cool. Maybe we'll check it out. Maybe you'll see that in a minute.
Who knows?
Editing.
And
cut.
But yeah, also Axe effects for just effects. So, as the name might suggest, it's horrible. Anyway, thing sounds fucking amazing, and you can do a lot of. There's a lot of possibilities, you know. So I just have a Voodoo Labs ground control as my MIDI switcher. Mm-hmm. So I'm just switching sounds and switching banks, switching songs with that. But also have an expression pedal, Ernie Ball expression pedal. Just for like some wah stuff, or just, you know, there's some songs where you might want like the mix of the delay going up while the fucking, you know, whatever, the reverb's going down. You know, there's so many things you could do at the same time, where there's like a wah filter that's increasing, and just to get some kind of weird shit. Yeah, exactly. So it's just less pedal jumping, you know, like sitting up there fucking tap dancing for half a song. Yeah. I could just go boom, and just one sweep of the foot does all these things, and I have more control over it that way, as opposed to having a huge pedal board with shitload of pedals, you know, or having a thing where the pedals are in a rack off stage. That's great too. I love doing that. But it's just more control. You know, more options, and programming the tempos for every song.
And almost probably like a feeling of to focus on performing. Whereas
yeah.
Like, you know,
and that's the other thing. It's all So since there's a MIDI in and out on the Voodoo Labs ground control, able to switch the songs where sometimes I'm not even switching them. I can just be fucking wherever, running around like an idiot on stage, too stupid to remember that I have to run up and do a thing and hit the button. Whenever the song starts, it's just automatically on the right patch, so I can be, you know, heckling Jeff or something, like throwing picks at him. I'm like, oh shit, the song's starting. Oh, I'm ready.
Time to do my job.
Yeah, it's nice. Very convenient.
Is there? I'm assuming it's just because it's a different band, a different sound that you were going with, but with Eagles you were running the oranges.
It's all orange stuff.
Is that a reason why you're doing the Mesa, just for a different sound or different vibe, or is it, and you kept that with the Eagles stuff?
You know, I like to, gear-wise, I always try to use whatever fits the sound, you know, whatever's appropriate for the band, for the sound, for the show. That's the most important thing, you know. It's like, whether it's somebody who's helping you out or whatever, well, if it's not appropriate for the band, or it doesn't sound right, it's not going to work out, you know. Yeah. And that's just what a Perfect Circle. I think, I'm pretty sure Paz and Jordy was pretty much the same setup. Obviously, there weren't fractals back then, but as far as the Mesa Boogie 400 Plus, the Ampeg 810, that's like, if it ain't broke,
yeah, right.
What the fuck? So that's the new saying. If it ain't broke, what the fuck? When life gives you lemons, let's say fuck the lemons and bail.
Man, we got all sorts of trademarks coming out of this.
That's actually Paul Rudd in Saving Sarah Marshall. But yeah, anyway, it just sounds great, you know, for this band. Just every time I like to try out. I have tried out other amps and rehearsals and stuff, and I'm just like, well, A/B it. And you're like, Mesa Boogie just has that sound, you know.
And do you have a lot of patches that you're running through? Because one of the hallmarks, I think, that what you bring to the band is Billy and James are going so all over the place with the sounds they can create, that your bass sound a lot of time is pretty pure, and it's just clean, I feel like.
Yeah, I try to capture the sounds from the records, but of course there's some things that don't quite work the same in this kind of setting, you know, especially when you get into reverbs and delays and stuff. It's just too fucking wet.
I think we're under fire.
Who the fuck is that? Tama! We're under fire from Jeff Friedel right now. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Jeff Friedel, who hasn't showered in 4 days, is...
it's okay, he's a drummer.
He's jealous because he's not on camera right now. Oh, so close.
Thanks.
And we're out. Thanks a lot. What were we talking about? I can't
Bass
remember what we're
tone.
talking about.
Bass tone, pure, clean.
Yeah, so yeah, there's definitely some songs that are pretty effects heavy, actually, especially when it comes to delays and stuff. But usually, it's mostly just fuzz, distortion, maybe a little bit of delay. There's a few things that like some low octave things, but for the most part, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. But
And why do you dig the cabinet with and not just going in ears with monitors and?
I just like the feel of it.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, even just for fun, you know, when you get up on stage and you're just like, you have to have your ears in just to hear, just to even tweak. And it throws you off because how it sounds in your ears is not necessarily how it's going to sound out in the real world.
Yeah.
You know, going through a mic, going through a PA, by the time it hits someone's ears, it sounds totally different than what it sounds like in here. So I'd much rather adjust it in the real world, you know, having the pushing air with something, you know. I just prefer that realness. I don't know.
We
fucking
appreciate
rattling
you
tubes.
being in the real world.
Like to rattle some tubes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Matt, appreciate it.
My pleasure, man.
I'm sure I'll see you in another band, maybe the Beta Machine.
Let's do it.
We'll do another rig rundown.
Sounds
All right, we're gonna
great.
talk to Billy.
See yous.
All right, last but definitely not least, Billy. Billy, how you doing?
Good.
Thank you for hanging out with us. This is a special treat to talk to you about all your gear.
Yeah.
And let's just get right into it. Let's talk about this one. I know this is a special guitar.
Yeah. So I was a guitar tech for many years. Worked for Nine Inch Nails, was one of the bands, and this was the first guitar that I got in my hands to work on of Trent's, and laid it down. And I think one of the instructions that came down the pipe that day was, you know, he wanted to trade out a pickup. So I was soldering, and I laid the soldering iron down, and it just slipped, and I did that.
Oof.
And it went right, hit the finish. I was like, oh my God. I mean, you know, I thought like I'm fired.
You're
right
fired,
away.
yeah.
Yeah. And then the tech next to me was working on stuff, and it's almost like going into war. And he just goes, dude, that's the least of your concerns. that is not a big deal as of what's going to happen tonight. And you can see over the years what had happened.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what that was. It couldn't have been a cymbal, but it had to be something like a piece of scaffolding that it cut through.
And people, if they're not familiar with Nine Inch Nails back in the day, and probably even still today, that notoriously for smashing guitars.
Yeah. This was a Downward Spiral tour in 94,
Okay.
95. And yeah, this thing got launched into the truss within minutes. So. And this guitar actually got the headstock ripped off it. And within the first probably couple weeks of working on it, maybe even the first week. And so it went missing. It got thrown, this got put in the crowd, someone ripped the headstock off, it went missing, and I got another guitar of this exact color that came in. And then, you know, fashioned this thing on there poorly, and it's at the wrong angle. It went on a couple different times, but you know, this is, I don't know if you guys can see if that angle translates, but it's not the right pitch.
Well, you're
all.
here in Nashville, or at Nashville headquarters, Gibson headquarters. You probably can go to the sea.
But I don't want anything changed about it. I've actually talked with Gibson about doing a signature model, and this is like one of the key things is reducing that pitch to that, because this is my favorite.
Yeah, and I remember you did an
Sorry.
interview with us a couple years ago with the live releases coming out, and you said that, I mean, functionally, or not functionally, but design-wise, it's totally whack. The neck
Yeah.
is completely, but it's what you're used to, and
Yeah.
that sound, that feel.
Yeah, I mean, it feels great. You would think I don't have any attack, but
Yeah.
it does. So yeah, that tour I went through 137 Les Pauls
Wow.
when I did the final count, and so this was the number one of all of them. So at the end of the tour, Trent just said, you know, take 2 or 3 guitars with you, whatever you want. And so of course I grabbed this, and the second best guitar of all of them was this guy. It was actually a studio, but with an ebony fretboard, and it's also had its terrible war wounds there. I never really even got to repairing
wow.
the back of it, but I don't even feel that when I slide up to it. This is my slide guitar though. So
Okay.
this is open tuning. I'll show
What
you that
open
in a minute.
tuning do you?
It's here. I'll let you hear it.
And
It's
what
almost-
song would people
The
associate this with?
A song Blue.
Okay.
The Outsider, I play it for half the song in the middle. And in Ashes Divide, my other band, I play 3 songs with it. And so it's low B. So we play in C sharp. Everything's dropped down 3 half steps.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's another full step. So low B, F sharp, mid B, high B, high B. So it's all B.
A lot of B.
Yeah, it's all B and just a F sharp. So.
Is there a specific slide you use?
Yeah, it's up there. I could show you.
We'll take a look at it.
We'll take a look in a minute. Yeah.
But what do you like about that slide, and what particular kind of slide is it? Is it glass? Is it?
It's glass. I mean, the first slide I got was a brass slide, and it was. I was a stagehand at the Stone Pony when I was a kid, like 17, 18 years old when I first started, and Joe Walsh came through, and I just went out and got the same slide that he had, but it was just too heavy and it wasn't my thing. But the glass one, that angled, whatever you call it, the angled glass slide is just works for me.
Okay. And what else are we looking at here? These might as well.
Everything's really backups. That's my main. I've played my number 2 backup here, which is another. These are all 1960 reissue Les Pauls. This is my number 2. I've played it, I don't know, for a total of, Steve could probably answer this better than I could, maybe 10 songs on this tour.
Okay.
Everything else has been that, or if I go to open tuning.
Do they all have the Tom Anderson humbuckers?
Yeah, everything's the same setup.
Okay.
So I have, what is it, a cap in the volume to, when I roll down, especially on the neck pickup, it thins out the sound a little bit so it's not so muddy. So I play a lot with the volume knob.
Yeah.
So I clean up with my volume knob quite a bit. That helps. So yeah, main guitar, main backup. This is third backup if disaster were to strike. It's kind of a wild finish.
Oh wow.
I don't know what you would call that, but I just call it tiger stripe for lack of a better word, lack of a better name. And then my my open guitar. So I'll go back and forth. I've been doing this one as the main open. It's just another 60 classic. The neck got put back on by Gibson. Which one was it? I think it was actually this one. They put both these back on. Well, this one just needed a headstock reset that I couldn't do. And this one, they put the wrong neck on. I think they put I don't know if you know guitars, but feel that one. I think it's a 59.
Yeah.
So it's a 60 reissue, but it's a 59 neck. This one also, feel how light this guy is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a forgiving
Compared
guitar.
to James's over there, he has a big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got a backbreaker.
That silver burst, yeah. This one's really heavy too. But this one's nice. It's a little thinner sound, and it kind of is good for when I'm playing open. So I've been kind of favoring it even more than this one, which sounds traditionally great.
What do you like about the classics?
The neck, and really I'm getting more. I think I love this so much because of the frets on it too. And I just don't remember or know my frets, but the guy that works on my guitar is Eric in LA. He told me which ones these are, but that's between the frets on this and the taper of this neck.
Do you know if you prefer like a medium or jumbo frets?
I don't know, whatever this is.
I would say medium. They don't look too chunky.
It's pretty flat. They're pretty
and
low.
your action's really low.
Yeah.
You like your...
Pretty low, yeah. And I play 13 to 56. So it's, 56, 44, 32, 20p, 17, 13.
Is that a custom set or is that something?
Yeah, it's custom.
Okay.
And the open tuning guitar is 58, 44, 32, 32, 14, 14.
Did you do a lot of experimenting to figure out what you liked?
Yeah. That was back like in the 90s when I was trying to figure all this out, and I've just been the same ever since. Use Ernie Ball strings and just kind of pick through.
I mean, how much of being a guitar tech, having that background, goes into your philosophy with guitars? Because it seems like being in a band that, you guys are playing in a big arena tonight, a lot of times when we come to these types of rig rundowns, we'll have 30 guitars. Yeah. Whereas I feel maybe because you, and I could be just shooting other, but you have like you understand the utilitarian aspect of playing guitar, that, these are tools, you only need 4 or 5, and versus, coming out with 20 or 30.
Yeah, like I said, I really can do the tour with those two. I mean, I can get away with, that and open tuning. And I've not had to go to this guitar at all. I think I did one night because I was wearing something that might have looked better with black. I don't know. Like literally it was...
Little things.
Yeah, it was the important things like that. I found what I liked. I mean, Trent switched to PRS guitars, which were really great. They sound and play really easy.
Yeah.
But for me, just I can get everything I want out of these guitars, and especially with the Tom Anderson pickups. They're very harsh and kind of unforgiving, but there's something to be said about that. I have to work really hard for it to sound pretty.
What you do have, like this, there's very beautiful parts in the guys' music, like the opening to new, like, you know, plenty of songs where the clean tones are just pristine.
Yeah.
So you can get it there.
Yeah. Yeah, and
it seems effortless.
Obviously, depending on the amp, but I really like these. I like those pickups a lot.
Yeah.
And that taper action, whatever it is, that got it so long ago that I put that in there. But whatever it is, the cap that you roll, that when you roll down the volume, that it doesn't get muddy. That's key to me on the neck pickup.
You prefer to do that than have like a volume pedal or turn down volume like on your amp, or in the case of an Axe-Fx setup that way, having volume stages?
Yeah, I like the way the amp sounds roll down, especially with a good amp. I've got, you know, we'll get to my rig in a minute, but you know, good amps sound great when you roll them down.
Yeah.
It's kind of the sound of at least this band. If I was playing, you know, regular rock guitar in another band, I wouldn't care as much, you know.
Yeah. I
went to go see, you know, we were in a festival and there's guys just shredding, playing classic tones, and I was like a little jealous, you know, how, I mean, it's never easy, but it's like it's on and it's off, you know? It's like, and this is a very different animal here. I've got to have my cab at a certain distance. If I go there, I know this harmonic's going to go to the 5th harmonic, and that's going to be the octave, and you know, there's
a science.
There's a science to it for sure. You know, it's a character to play in this band.
Yeah. Well, you've talked about your amps, so that's a good segue. Let's get over there and talk about them.
Okay.
All right, we're over in Ampland, Billy. Walk us through your signal chain or the signal path.
So tonight, or the past couple nights, we've been using my original head, which is back there. I'll show you guys in a minute, but it's basically, these are duplicates of it. So there and there's, it's a 1978 JMP Super Lead 100 Marshall head, but the preamp's modified, and basically it became the inspiration for the Naked Head by Friedman.
Yeah. Well, what do you know? I mean, can you divulge what was modified in that preamp to make it so special?
I brought him a Nailer 60-watt head that I really liked the preamp sound of, but it just didn't get loud enough to play clean. Mm-hmm. But I loved how, I don't know, the juxtaposition of it was so bright but crisp. I mean, so like dark but crisp. It was, it didn't have the red hot fuzz sound that I don't like from a lot of saturated kind of metal amps. Mm-hmm. So he put that, basically modeled that, or I don't know how he did it, but made that preamp section into that power section, because I love the power section of the 78.
Yeah, it's a classic.
So my signal chain in this rig now is going, we had just changed this. So back there is an Rjm switcher, the little mini guy, I forget what it's called. Hey, Steve. He could probably tell you which one it is. It's like the mini, God, I forget what it's called. But it's just like a 6-loop switcher. So going into there, I can split off to, excuse me. First thing is into the fractal input.
Okay.
Then in here to the loop switcher. It either sends to the Marshall or sends to the Gibson over there. We have a Gibson,
is that the Gibson
GA15RV.
Do you use? Is that the Gibson that you referenced in talking about what you prefer to use with Ashes Divide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that you said you love that gnarly distortion tone, but it's.
Yeah, it's great. And so, hey, what is the Rjm Switcher?
Oh, it's the mini effects gizmo.
Right, mini effects gizmo. What is it, like
five loops, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me if I'm right on this. So we're going into the fractal, right? Mm-hmm. And then out of there into the mini effects gizmo. It's splitting either to the Marshall or to the Gibson.
Yep.
It returns back into that loop switcher and then just feeds the input to a split on this custom audio splitter / mixer. One of the sends goes into the input 2 on the fractal.
Yep.
The other one's going to go into send 2 specifically goes into the Digitech. The Digitech is so crazy. Like it changes per minute how it sounds, but you have to kind of attenuate the input sometimes. So Bob Bradshaw put this in there for me, like a little attenuation knob.
All right.
And then they all return back into the return mixer in here, and then back into the power section of the Marshall.
So just to clarify, are these Marshalls like actual Marshalls, or are these like clones that Dave built for you?
Clones of Dave. Well, yeah. I mean, it is, I guess, the naked head, but the first prototypes of those. So
Okay.
I have, 2 rack mount, and then the original one back here. So they all sound pretty similar. You know, they need a little tune-up. So as we've been on the road, we've noticed they need a little tune-up. We're going to put them to Dave in a couple days and get them ready for our Hollywood Bowl show.
Is it something you're running all of them all the time, or is it something you're...
One.
Okay.
Yeah, just one at a time, 1 amp at a time. But those are running, you know, the Gibsons are running at the same time, just to be able to cut in and out
Okay.
as I need it. For songs like Weak and Powerless, I'm using it. What do I have? In By and Down, there's a...
Lying down, weak and powerless, gravity,
Mhm.
tone. So a couple times it's just like for like one particular.
New song, Hourglass, I've got for the chorus. Actually, I just switched it from that, but yeah. On 13 Step, there Pet. We're not playing Pet right now, but that's another one that's heavily used on that. Yeah. So.
Well, I feel like this is the point where we need to go up and hear some of this stuff.
Okay.
That's cool.
All right, sounds good.
Let's do it. All right, Billy was kind enough to put on the Cinnaburst for us, and he's going to walk us through some of your tones. I'm sure there's plenty under the hood, but we'll just go through a few of them. Do you want to maybe start with maybe your basic amp tone, so that's kind of where the core starts?
Sure. So every song has a patch,
Okay.
Every song has presets. I usually have 5 or 6. And things are generally in the same place. So my main dirt sound, it's just the Marshall, there's nothing else. With that, I mean, I do play clean with that. And especially when I go to that Gibson,
Is that
very...
One song in my head that I wanted to hear, there's a couple of things I wanted to ask, was Reholder. That part where the middle part where it gets super heavy and dense.
Live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the Gibson, or is that just a combination
That's
of so
the
much?
Marshall.
Okay.
I think that was just using the Marshall at that
man,
time.
that's...
Yeah. But that probably is more on the, just neck pickup on the Marshall. I love these pickups too with the tone off. It's just Tommy Iommi wannabe sound, you know?
Before we go any further, Billy, you have the 412 behind us. Do you know what speakers are in there?
Yeah, it's the G12 vintage, not the vintage 30s.
Okay.
So that's the 1960 AV cab. Steve, is it GA or G12 vintage, right? Yeah. Yeah. Only in that cab. I think it's a 70 watt. Yeah, 70 watt speaker. So, and that was a thing. I've used the same cab forever, since I've had a 4x12, which was like 1996.
Yeah.
And we just got this for the tour as a backup, and I just liked it. It was just a little tighter. There's songs like Counting Bodies it's just speaker crushing. So.
Oh man, I can feel it.
So that'll loosen things up, but it's been good. I mean, I've been playing that speaker for, it's been 20 years, and
wow.
So it was just time to get a new one. But yeah, that's fun to hear through the PA. It's pretty wild. So yeah, that's main.
Kind of the bass tone.
Yep, that's the bass tones, and then you know, things a little more like Rose is. So my clean sounds are all the Fender Twin simulations within the Fractal. Yeah. So every dirt sound is the Marshall or the Gibson amp.
Okay.
I don't know if am I using any dirt simulation patches now?
You're only using just the drive pedals.
The drive.
Yeah, you're not using any amp.
Yeah, none of the amp
Okay,
blocks.
you're using the
I
drive.
played around with it, and I've gotten close.
Yeah, why do you like the dirt through the tube amp, but the clean patches through the Fractal?
I have a clean channel on the Marshall. It's just less versatile. You know, I can kind of tweak. Most of the patches have a global amp set up as a Fender Twin, but some just needed a little bit of tweaking. You know, didn't even need it. I can get by with it, and I always did before. So this is kind of a new thing as of 2011. I got the Fractal in 2008 for Ashes Divide, so that's when I started switching to it. Pre that, it was just the 2 channels in my Marshall. But I don't know, I would just rely heavily on compressors in the front before, like a pedal compressor,
Okay.
to get the sound toned down. Now I can just tweak it as a channel. So this, rolling down, I mean, why I like the dirt.
Yeah, can you explain or at least show what you enjoy about the rolling off the neck pickup?
Yeah.
With the taper?
In particular, the Gibson, I mean, I don't know any amp that does that, you know, because I don't know if you can tell there, but no relative volume difference, you know?
No.
So yeah, it's pretty great.
I'm gonna geek out and take advantage of being a fan and ask you what goes on during the verse parts or the arpeggiated parts in the hollow. And could you break that down?
Yeah, so the beginning is, and that's just you know, a delay with a little modulation. A lot of my delays, I modulate the delayed signal, you know, a little bit. So that's kind of where that chorusing is coming from. It's
Just to have the repeat stand out a little bit more?
Yeah, so the repeats are detuning 5 cents or something like that. And very slowly. So this live, I mean, we've been working on it, and I just kind of ripped the sound apart. It's hard for me to get that album sound again. It was from Rjm Tools. It's a plugin that I use, a combination of 4 plugins, and tracked the guitar 4 times and kind of just swept them in and out to get that sound.
Yeah.
So live, yeah, that one kind of cuts through, seems to cut through live.
Yeah.
So there's a little ring mod on there, octafuzz, and delay.
Are there any particular delays or fuzz that you're using because I'm sure the library inside the Fractal for those types of effects is pretty deep.
Yeah.
So do you know offhand like which ones you're
Well, the
modeling after?
octafuzz, there was just one. I just
Okay.
kind of went in and made one preset that I like, and then I use it all the time. So my octafuzz are pretty much always the same. Maybe Pet's a little different. Pet's got like a pretty gnarly setting. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think it's in the set list, so I might have to ask Steve to get to it. Hey Steve, could you pull up Pet?
This is technology, folks.
Yeah, if I don't need it, I don't have access to it for the show, you know, so I don't accidentally hit it. Steve's switching every song from the beginning.
Okay.
So. So that one's really, you know, a little different, but pretty. So that song's like a lot of volume play and a lot of tone, you know, stuff going on. So that's probably one of the most complicated sound songs that I have.
And for the noose, or just any song that you do, but this one sticks out as the noose, is towards the end of it when it gets to the loudest climax, and then you guys split right back to, and you go right back to that opening riff where it's real quiet. Are you doing that something here, or are you doing that switching the pickups?
No, it's switching on here. Yeah, and that took a while. I used to kind of fumble through that, and that's another little tweak we did on this tour, is getting out of that harsh. That's the sound harsh. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if the parts and. That sound, and then the getting that to trail the right way.
There, yeah.
And those are the things that take forever. I mean, even though my rig is pretty simple, it's the programming that takes months to figure out how to do. And there's a lot of little nuanced stuff that's, you know, Steve and I have been working on. So the song Blue, hand me one of those guys. So there's a
slide, aforementioned slide.
I don't know what you call it. Oh, here we go. It's a Dunlop 234.
Here you go, kids.
So with Blue, this one, that expression pedal just lets it go pretty much forever. And then I have a looper for the top of the song that I'll play around with. And then, you know, I'll just start adding shit in there. You know, every night I'll just mess around and something might come out good, maybe it doesn't. So, yeah, what was I saying? In Blue, yeah, so that's, my externals are external 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is the switch between the amps. This is 9, this is 10, this is 11 click, 12 click. So, you know, if I'm playing a wah pedal, these Mission pedals are nice because they have a built-in second input for another controller that toe switch will operate. Before I was using Ernie Ball pedals, and I had to go and weld in a little switch and, you know, make it, but these were already done, so that's nice.
And before we let you go, is there a chance that maybe you could describe what's going on in Hourglass, or one of the newer songs?
Yeah, let's see. That's back to, here, let me grab that.
All right, Billy, you got your Les Paul, your normal one back?
Yeah, I'm back. So you asked about Hourglass, is a new song. So this is still a work in progress. There's a synth sound that goes underneath this one that I think is off right now. We're in the middle of tweaking it, but it's kind of... So there's a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah, this song's got a lot of stuff going on. And so, I mean, I've got the gain of a tube screamer that's operating this one to let it swell up. This is making the multi-delays and delays have feedback regeneration. And so it's kind of hard to keep it straight, especially when I go off tour and come back a couple months later, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's becoming a very sophisticated patch. But Hourglass is changing by the day. Like tonight, we're making a change that probably is different than the last show we just played. So
cool.
Yeah, we're kind of writing these
Writing
songs
as you go.
Yeah, or tweaking as we go. You know, the songs are kind of written, but just doing little final touches on them.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens organically, where you might have, you know, maybe the idea completely fleshed out, everything ready, and then you guys play it live, and then you're like, whoa, that didn't work, or let's try this, or something like that.
Yeah, and we can, you know, even if it doesn't work, let's just let it marinate and see what happens with the crowd's reaction, and see if we feel something from that, and make a change from there, or not.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Billy, I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
I'm very glad to say that this is a rig rundown that I've been looking forward to. So,
oh, cool.
Premier Guitar, Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you guys one more time.
Thanks, guys.
Don't forget to sign up for PG Perks, your all-access pass to exclusive gear giveaways and discounts on PremierGuitar.com.